So last time, at the end of the previous canto, we have been introduced to Satyavan indirectly. A stranger on the sorrowful roads of time, 101.22, last sentence of the previous page. A stranger on the sorrowful roads of time, immortal under the yoke of death and fate, a sacrificant of the bliss and pain of the sphere. Love in the wilderness met Savitri. This is what we were talking last time. Love in the wilderness met Savitri. This is an appropriate introduction to the following canto, Satyavan. So that love is immediately identified with Satyavan in the next canto. That way, the logical development of Savitri as a story, as a narration, is something very remarkable, very tight, very closely knit, one after the other. The sequences is perfect. The sequences go sort of in a very natural way. In other words, this particular canto Satyavan does not come to us with any kind of an abruptness. How suddenly? He has already prepared us. Look, now I am going to tell you something about Satyavan. He has already said in the last sentence of the previous canto. The Lord of Transformation is there carved on the mountain rock, blue-throated, ascetic, and he is watching the entire scene, and it is under his witness eye all these things are going to happen. Satyavan will come, Savitri will come, they will meet, etc., etc., etc. Exactly 1 year after their meeting, Satyavan will die here in this place, and the beginning of the new creation will start here at this place, under the kingly trunk, as it says in some other place. So, the nature of Satyavan, his role is already described in a few brief sentences. Not even sentences, few phrases basically. Satyavan, who is Satyavan? He is a stranger on the sorrowful roads of time. In fact, he has come to the sorrowful world, yet he is a stranger. Immortal under the yoke of death and fate. That is what Satyavan is, the immortal. A sacrificant of the bliss and pain of the spheres. He has sacrificed everything here. And then it is that love which is going to meet Savitri in this canto. So, immortal under the yoke of death and fate, that is the entire burden of Satyavan's avatarhood. He has taken upon himself the burden of death and pain. He is carrying that thing. He is immortal, avatar, the incarnate. He has come here and he is carrying that burden on him. The yoke of death and pain is there on his neck all the while. You can put it the other way around also. He is carrying the cross of death and pain on his shoulders. Now, this is a kind of a passive description of Satyavan. What is he himself doing? The dynamism. That has not come out in this one. But he is accepting the load. for a certain purpose. In that sense, perhaps he is playing, perhaps he is playing a greater role than Savitri. To carry passively the burden of this ignorant, inconscient creation, it is that role which he is playing. Savitri is the dynamic aspect of it. The yoke is there, and to remove that yoke from his neck, that is the job of Savitri. That is what she is going to do. She has taken her birth specifically for that purpose, to remove death and pain from this creation. Now, in one place, the mother says, "Who is Satyavan?" And she asks a counter question. Isn't he the avatar? In fact, he is the first avatar. Long before the series of avatars came, he is the first incarnation in this creation. That goes back to the story of creation narrated by the mother. In the story of the creation, as a story, she tells that four powers, they went far away from the Supreme, from their source, and they became opposite. Consciousness became inconscience. Life became death. Bliss became pain and suffering. It is the separation of the four powers which has caused this havoc of this creation. That was necessary, it happened, it has happened. But the mother says then, when this horror of separation was seen from above, horror of separation, she uses the word horror of separation was seen, then immediately the divine plunged into the void. Plunged into the void. And it is the presence of that divine in the void that is his first incarnation. And the name of that first incarnation is Satyavan. It is the being of truth, Satya, who carries truth. It is the being of truth who has stationed himself in the void. When truth became falsehood, things had to be rescued. And that is possible only when the Supreme Himself stations here in this void. Otherwise, there is no way out at all, you see. So Satyavan is, in that sense, carrying that entire burden on him. Immortal under the yoke of death and pain. That is what he has done. The Supreme, as a delegate, as the incarnate, he has come here and he is carrying death and pain. Pardon me? Pain. Yeah. Is there no? I mean, the second line of the. Sorry, the death and fate. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Now, and therefore he is sacrificant. He has sacrificed his lordliness, his Aishwarya. That is what he has sacrificed. He is a royal being there up. He has sacrificed and stationed himself into the void. His Aishwarya he sacrificed and he has come here. Now it is this being who is going to meet Savitri. That is what the concluding line means. So although Savitri is in search of a life partner, it is he who is going to meet her, see, basically. Because he has been waiting for her. He has been kind of waiting for her all along, you see. He cannot be rescued from his clutch of death without her. So he has been sort of waiting for her. And therefore, in that wilderness, in that forest, in that loneliness, it is he who is going to meet Savitri. Although Savitri is going from place to place in search of a life partner, but the reality, so to say, is the other way around. Now, therefore, with all that background, by the way, there is another important aspect also which may connect with what is said here. The very first canto, the symbol dawn, closes with the line, "This was the day when Satyavan must die." This was the day when Satyavan must die. Now, it is the day of their meeting which is going to determine this day he must die, 1 year after their meeting. So the meeting is important in connection with that statement. This was the day when Satyavan must die. Now, why he must die? Because it is in that death of his the new creation can begin. He has to die to his past. All that had happened earlier, he has to give up, die to that past. Then only the future can begin, can open out. He must die because of that. So we could say, in a kind of a dramatic manner, that the first death of the Supreme is when he decided to plunge into the inconscient void. He sacrificed all his lordliness, Aishwarya. He came down and stationed himself in the void. That is his first death. His second death is the day when Satyavan must die. The second and the last death. There are only 2 deaths for him. He comes here, sacrifices everything. It is a kind of a death for him. Now, all that has happened, that he has to give up, dissolve, it must disappear, and therefore the second death must take place. So, when Satyavan must die, it is actually the second death. Now, therefore, that must. He has to die if a new creation has to begin. It is not that Satyavan will die. Satyavan has to die. He must die. That is important. He must die. Then only the new creation can begin. So, their meeting, the death, pain, fate, all those things get connected in one particular sentence here. In that sense, he is a sacrificant. And therefore, the second canto begins with this one. All she remembered on this day of fate. This is important. This day of fate. She remembered. She is going to meet him now, Satyavan, physically. But the entire history of the creation, the entire past, it kind of fleets across her memory. Yes, 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 all those things that happened. This day of fate. Now, F is capital. When it is said that Satyavan must die, that must is linked up with fate. It has to happen. It is fated that Satyavan and Savitri will meet. It is fated that he will die, so that the new creation begins. In fact, that is what the previous canto meant, the destined meeting place. It has to happen here at the given hour. The road, now he is giving a kind of a story-like description from the next line. The road that hazarded not the solemn depths. Savitri is coming, driving her chariot, Hema Ratha, carbon car, she is driving the horses, not through the hazardous solemn depths, not to the forest, not to the thickets and like that, but on an open place. The road that hazarded not the solemn depths means of the deep forest, but turned away to flee to human homes. She has come to the forest. Instead of entering the forest, she is now taking a turn where there is human habitation. The chariot, you see. To human home, the wilderness with its mighty monotone. The morning, like a lustrous sphere above. While she is driving, the morning which is seen like a bright, brilliant sphere, the whole scene, you see. Above, the passion of the summits lost in heaven, passion of the summits, these mountains which are rising up, waiting for this hour, for this moment, for this event to take place. They're waiting, they're eagerly waiting for that. That is the passion. Summit lost in heaven, they're climbing up to high skies, waiting for this event. The Titan murmur of the endless woods. So all that she avoided, and she is entering into a region where there is human habitation. Instead of going through the thick forest, she is going from place to place. All right, now she sees here some human habitation. She drives her chariot towards that. Now, there is something significant. It is not just for the sake of poetry that poet is describing all these things. There is a certain purposefulness also in the description. He says, the morning, like a lustrous sphere above, morning. So on the fated day, it is going to be in the morning. They are going to meet in the morning, early in the morning, maybe around 8 o'clock or so. Satyavan is coming, Savitri is coming, and they are going to meet early in the morning around 8 o'clock. They see each other, they recognize each other, all those things happen, and then they pledge to be together, and that happens at a noon hour. As the book proceeds, we see that they had decided to be together, and that moment is noon. So this is a kind of a rendezvous for about 3 hours from morning, or 4 hours roughly, from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Everything is fixed, decided, you see. She comes here in the morning, they meet, etc., etc., and then the heavenly marriage takes place at 12 noon, you see. And things start unfolding from that point onward. So the whole description is now pertaining for those 3 hours. This canto and the next canto will kind of give you some idea about those 3-4 hours, you see, here you see. Now, the marriage takes place at noon, which is important, because exactly 1 year after the marriage, at this time, this day, this muhurta, this moment, this kshana, everything is fixed. Satyavan will die. He is to die 1 year after this meeting, again at noon. Again at noon he will die, you see. So there is a kind of a consistency in the entire description. On the fated day when Satyavan is going to die, again they start together from their hermitage. They go to the forest together, and then Satyavan shows her all those places, etc., etc. He does his work, and then at noon he collapses, exactly 1 hour. So again it starts in the morning at maybe around 8 o'clock, after taking the breakfast, whatever it is, and then he comes to the forest, and this is what happens here, you see. You see, this is what happens here. Again, here also morning, you see, that is important. Now, No, we can find out 8 o'clock roughly. Yeah, yes? Yeah, indirectly we can estimate. You see, from the description which is there, if you count the number of pages which are devoted, they are talking, they are discussing, and all that thing, it takes about 3 hours to cover all that dialogue and that exchange. It covers about 3 hours. And he says specifically noon, high noon. So, so we can go back to. So, morning. No. Well, I mean, he starts his early morning work as usual. He goes to the forest to collect fruit, flowers, and whatever is required for the daily use. So he starts early morning daily, see. And Savitri wants to accompany him. She is allowed to accompany him on that particular day by the elders. She goes along with him, you see. And then he shows this is the river, this is the mountain, these are all the places. He very joyously describes the whole thing. In Book of Dates, we can see that later on, you see. And from that again, we can say that roughly he must have started early morning at 8 o'clock, you see. That is from the description. There is a kind of a logical consistency in the entire description, you see. It is not kind of manipulated, it happens. It has to happen that way, you see. Titan murmur of the endless woods, as if a wicket gate to joy were there, ring with a voiceless hint and magic sign upon the margin of an unknown world. Reclined the curve of a sun-held recess, grows with strange flowers like eyes of gazing men, peer from the secrecy into open space, vows whispering to a constancy of light, sheltered a dim and screened felicity, and slowly a supine inconstant breeze ran like a fleeting sigh of happiness over slumberous grasses franked with green and gold. That is the nature of the whole place. Now, this is a very rich description, and it starts with as if a wicket gate to joy. Wicket gate. It's a very beautiful phrase. It is a small gate in a big door. We have got a big door and a small gate. That is called the wicket gate. It is also sometimes a small little gate at the entrance of a garden. You open the shutters and walk in. A small little gate. You can kind of jump over it to see and walk in. That is the wicket gate. So, as if a wicket gate of joy to joy were there. So that whole place is a wicket gate. You can, through a small little gate, you can walk into the world of joy, into the garden. That is what it means. Rain in with voiceless hint and magic sign, that whole place. Now, this wicket gate, why Shebandu is saying wicket gate? Well, why should he not say? That's a natural question. Wicket gate has a specific reference in Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. Pilgrim's Progress. That is one of the most wonderful books and perhaps the most sold book after Bible. Pilgrim's Progress. And there he speaks of the wicket gate through which he has to pass. And that reference is what is kind of echoed here, as if a wicket gate to joy. Now, I have some notes about that, about the Pilgrim's Progress. It is the first stage of the journey of the main character of Pilgrim's Progress. His name is Christian. His, he is Christian, and his guide is the evangelist. They are names given specifically that way. Means they are allegorical names. Christian, hope, evangelist. All these are allegorical characters, physical characters. Now, so the first stage of the journey of Christian to the celestial city. He is looking for the way to go to the celestial city, which is described in the Bible. And how to go there, in what manner to go there. It is the evangelist who is going to tell Christian, go like this, do this, etc. And you will see a wicket gate. You cross that wicket gate, you will go here and then till that. See. It is the entrance to the King's Highway. The wicket gate is the entrance. From there, the moment you step out, you are on the King's Highway. Christian is weighed down by a great burden. He is carrying the burden of his sin. Being a person, he is carrying the burden of the sin. He is weighed down by his burden. He is weighed down by a great burden, his sin. He meets evangelist who directs him to the wicket gate for deliverance. Directs him for deliverance. Go like this for deliverance. Christian cannot see it. He is not able to see the wicket gate where it is. He is told go like that. He is not able to see it. Christian cannot see it, but evangelist directs him to a shining light. Look, there is a shining light. You follow that light. Christian leaves everything behind. The moment he sees the shining light, he leaves everything behind. His family, his children, his household, everything he leaves behind and starts following the shining light. His wife, his children, he leaves them behind in order to save himself. He is carrying the sin, he wants to save himself. So he leaves everything behind. He is unable to persuade them. He wants them also to accompany him, his wife and his children. They say, sorry, we are not ready yet. Later on it will happen, but at that particular moment, they are not accompanying him. He persuades, he tries this. At the wicket gate, begins the straight and narrow King's Highway. It is the King's Highway which will lead him to the celestial city. That is the objective. He has to reach the celestial city. It is there all his sins will be disburdened. All his sins will be disburdened. He has to leave all that thing and he has to go there, you see. So through the wicket gate, shining light, King's Highway, celestial city, that is the path laid out for him. So it is that kind of a reference we have got here. As if a wicket gate to joy. That joy here would stand for the celestial city. It is that distinct meeting place. It is that which is acting like a wicket gate. But there, ringed with voiceless scent and magic sign. These are the signs of the new things to come. So he has already packed so much of symbolism, so much of stuff in these two sentences by using simply the word wicket gate. What is to happen in future in this place that is already described is packed in that single phrase. Ringed with voiceless hint and magic sign upon the margin of an unknown world, reclined the curve of a sun-hailed recess. Now there is a mention not exactly of the wicket gate, but of what is called a straight gate, which is equivalent to that, straight gate, which is equivalent to the wicket gate in a certain sense. In St. Matthew and St. Luke, there is a mention of that thing. In St. Matthew, we have got St. Matthew 7:13. 7:13. That is the verse 7:13. He says, "Enter ye in the straight gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the way." Enter the straight gate. Wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many there is which go in thereat. That is what we got straight gate here. Again, we have got in Luke also, 13:24. Yeah, he's very clear about it. Strive to enter in at the straight gate. Strive to enter in at the straight. For many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in and shall not be able. They will not be able to enter the straight gate. He said that he wants that. But in the case of Christian here in Pilgrim's Progress, the evangelist assures him, yes, you are not able to see the wicket gate. I know that you are not able to see the wicket gate, but there is a shining light. Follow the shining light and it will lead you forward. So, these are certain biblical associations. In fact, Savitri is rich in that, in biblical associations. And they bring out different depths, different meaning, different content. So while he's simply saying, as if a wicket gate, it is not really as if, it is. The poetic way of saying is, as if. As if a wicket gate to joy would there ring, and with voiceless hint and magic sign, upon the margin of an unknown world, reclined the curve of a sun-hailed recess, grows with strange flowers like eyes of gazing nymphs. So that is the joy, that is the happiness. There are gardens, there are flowers, there are all those things. And how are they? Like eyes of gazing nymphs. That is what they are there. These flowers are looking as if nymphs are looking at you, see. Peer from the secrecy and open space, boughs whispering to a constancy of light. There is a constant sunshine there, and the boughs are talking to each other, the tree branches are talking to each other, the leaves are talking to each other. Sheltered, dim, and screened felicity. It is in that place, is sheltered, the place where Satyavan is dwelling. His hermitage is sheltered by that thing. That is the wicket gate through which Savitri is saying, our city of tomorrow. See what she is saying here already. Sheltered, dim, and screened felicity. That is our felicity. That is our joy to be there. And slowly supine in constant breeze, constantly changing, ran like a fleeting sigh of happiness. So sigh is of course a very positive, beautiful thing here. Sigh of happiness. Over slumberous grasses pranked with grain and gold. So this is the grassland through which the breeze is gently flowing and all that thing. And it is in that surrounding is the screened place where dwells Satyavan. Hidden in the forest bosom of loneliness, amid the leaves, the inmate voices call, sweet like desires, enamored and unseen, cry answering slow to slow, insistent cry. The whole forest, it is in that forest is hidden, this particular place where the felicity, that is the living, the hermitage where Satyavan lives, behind slept emerald, dumb remotenesses. So this is the human place where Savitri is entering. Behind that thing are thick forests. Behind slept emerald, dumb remotenesses, haunt of a nature passionate, veiled, denied to all, but her own vision lost and wide. We cannot see through that forest. Such thickness is the forest there. See, she herself can see that. So this is the place where Satyavan is living, the felicity. Behind that are the thick forest grows. Only one sign was there of a human trait. So in that thickness, that in this loneliness, in that wilderness, there is only one single strip running like a road. Only one sign was there of a human trait. A single path, short, thin and arrow-like, into the bosom of vast and secret life, pierced this enormous dream of solitude. So the dream of solitude is that place is pierced by this arrow. This path is passing through that place like an arrow. And it is that which is kind of disturbing the solitude of the whole place. Here, first she met on the uncertain path the one for whom her heart had come so far. She had been traveling almost for 1 year, going from place to place. From far off Madra, she has come to Shalva. We don't know geographically what the distance is, but that is what the description means here. See, the one for whom her heart had come so far. See, monosyllabic line, it gives a kind of an image. The one for whom her heart had come so far. See, I mean, the rhythm builds up with that thing, that moment also. Here first she met on the uncertain earth. Now, again, that problem arises. This line very clearly says that it is here she met Satyavan. In the earlier one, love met her in the wilderness. See. Obviously, because Savitri is traveling, and therefore it is she who has to meet him. As mind is soul on nature's background, limb, the whole nature is there. Yeah, the whole nature is there, standing here. And on that background, this is the kind of a contour of this man standing there. See. As mind, soul, and nature's background, limb, stand out for a moment in a house of dream. Is Savitri dreaming? What is she seeing here? Some sharp contour, some edge is set there, and a figure is coming there in front of her, created with the ardent breath of life. So he appeared again in the forest words. In the background of that forest, it is this man, this figure, which is appearing in front of Savitri. Inset twixt green relief and golden ray. So as if a kind of a picture cut and kept in one place there. It is that which is seen here. See. That is the limbed figure. See. As might, soul, and nature's background, limbs stand out for a moment in a house of dream, created with the ardent breath of life. So he appeared again the forest words, inset twixt green relief and golden ray. I will stop with that. So that is how they are going to meet. And now we follow the discussion about this figure. Who is this man? What is his? What is his nature? What is his character? That is what will come following this introduction. He has been introduced. He has been brought on the scene. Now, who is this man? That will